The emotions, the energy of this place, the spirit, it's alive. This is not a building, it's an organism of health and welfare and hope.
I owe everything to Methodist Rehab. They helped me walk again.
I love this place. They're the reason why I'm here.
The idea for the rehab hospital came from a need in Mississippi for state-of-the-art rehabilitative care. And it involved lots of people getting together. I'm not even sure I would know all the parties, but both rehab and the Methodist Church and some involved businessmen, and that's how people like our father got involved, and other people as well. Hilton Ladner was our neighbor and a business acquaintance of Daddy's, and Frank Hart had also involved, and Dr. Jesse Wofford. There were other people involved from other agencies and things like that, but they were a group of 4 who really wanted to see this happen.
My father was a thoracic surgeon. I think he would be so happy with where the rehab is, its development, its growth. I think he'd be very happy with the excellence in patient care, but also the educational programs within Methodist Rehab.
What I remember is that Sunday mornings, every Sunday morning, all the family, everybody went to Sunday school, but all the dads went to a meeting about Methodist Rehab. Every Sunday morning.
Early efforts to develop a rehabilitation center were championed by Frank Hart, an administrator at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. In 1968, a permanent board of trustees was established, with Earl Wilson as chairman. Together, Wilson, Hart, Ladner, and Walford made the Methodist Rehab dream a reality.
I knew a lot of the people who founded it, and they were very unassuming otherwise. It's interesting. It's like they concentrated all of their interest in one thing, did it right, and it has survived and thrived.
What do you think they'd say today if they could see this hospital?
They'd be proud. I don't think they'd be surprised, though. I think they built it to look like this now, but they would be proud, be pleased.
It was started to be the rehabilitation arm for UMC, and they have done an excellent job of providing that and just doing the things that they do well in rehabilitation. The family, and especially Earl, just a bright spot. I mean, great demeanor, always upbeat, always with a rose in his lapel. He just exuded that kind of confidence of having a great institution, and he wanted to make sure that was the case. When you do the right kinds of things for the right reasons, people want to be a part of that.
Thinking about those early days, I didn't know exactly what was going on, but I knew it felt big. And I knew it was something Daddy was really committed to because he had seen the need for it in all his travels for his work. Seeing injured people having to have family members quit their jobs in order to take care of their loved one. So that was 2 people out of work, 2 people suffering, and the patient not getting what they needed medically. And so that was one of his main driving forces, was to be able to help the person who had the disabling injury and also support the family by being able to provide good care so they could come back to work.
They were just a wonderful couple. They had to be extremely pleased when they were in their final years. From where they started to get to where they were in that period of time, they worked hard to get it up and going. It wasn't easy.
They would just be as happy as can be to see all the improvements and the innovations and all the people. They loved the feeling that they got when they walked in because they knew they were helping so many people. And I think it was important to him that all the employees felt needed and valued. You know, he cared about the people who worked there.
I have been employed at Methodist Rehab for 47 and a half years over 50 years. I have been so incredibly blessed to have the opportunity to carry on such a rewarding mission at such a great organization for so many years. That from the day the doors open at Methodist Rehab to today, you couldn't find a more talented, compassionate, dedicated, hardworking group of employees in any other organization. These employees are striving for the best for their patients each and every day.
They told me when I came, if I was willing to work for it, they would give me a new life. And like a lot of other patients that came here, not knowing what's going to happen, they rebuilt my life and gave me a second chance. And when I was discharged is when they gave me the job here. I was the PBX operator. And all in all, it was 44 years. I've seen major changes, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Methodist Rehab Center was so fortunate to have Mark Adams at the head for 30 years. Under his leadership, the hospital grew rapidly, focusing on research, long-term care, and expansion of outpatient services. In 1981, 4 additional floors were added to the hospital. In 1989, the Wilson Research Foundation was created to support research and education thanks to a generous donation from the H.F. McCarty Jr. family. The East Campus in Flowood, home to outpatient, neurological, and orthopedic clinics, opened in 1992. Today, the campus is also home to Methodist Orthotics and Prosthetics, Methodist Physical Medicine, and Methodist Pain Management. The hospital's 2-story atrium mall opened in 1995. In 1998, the Center for Neuroscience and Neurological Recovery was established. In 2000, Methodist Rehabilitation Center became the first hospital in Mississippi to be named one of America's best by U.S. News and World Report. In 2004, Methodist Specialty Care Center, a 60-bed residential facility for the severely disabled, opened on the East Campus. Over the years, outpatient services expanded to Ridgeland, Gluckstadt, and Clinton. And Methodist Orthotics and Prosthetics opened clinics in 10 cities throughout Mississippi and in Monroe, Louisiana.
If you tell somebody that we have close to 4,500 square feet of research space, people would not believe it. And when we describe what resources we have inside, people get very impressed. And everybody who comes to see the hospital pretty much leaves with the impression that this is the perfect place to do this kind of work. And I think this obviously could not have been possible without support of all, and most importantly, the Wilson Research Foundation, which is our major funding source.
I think the importance of research for an institution, a healthcare institution, is that it broadens the foundation. Patients are interested in the fact that their caregivers are aiming for excellence, trying to learn more, trying to improve healthcare. I think the patients enjoy participation in research. It also puts the name of the institution on a different map. So I think the work of our research team has really made Methodist Rehab more recognized nationally and internationally. We're currently sitting in the Motion Lab. It's a fascinating place to come see how we learn about movement disorders and how to improve clinical care.
The scope of our work is much broader than what people perceive as being research. We also try to bring innovation, hope to provide clinical support, and finally educate people and serve as a resource for people to grow their careers. People often think of us as being the most involved in the West Nile research. And yes, that came as an opportunity to put ourselves up on the map in terms of documenting our skills and knowledge. But our real focus is on rehabilitation research. And that has been permeating for 2 decades consistently. We are already looking into how we can utilize not only new technology, but new innovations in the world of data mining and what the future holds for us with artificial intelligence. We have to be on the front line and watch, observe, and see what works for us, in which way we can utilize it going forward.
We're saddened that my sister Jenny Munger is not with us for this celebration. She would have enjoyed it immensely, and she led the Wilson Foundation for 20 years and really did a fabulous job, and she gathered together a board that is now going to carry on under Mary Wofford's leadership, and it's just a very special group.
So, Sister, again, tell me where we are.
14th floor of the Hinton Plaza here at St. Dominic's Hill, and we're looking out from the top of the dome. We can see Methodist Rehab right here. It's just a stone's throw away.
A year ago at this time, I sustained a fall, a fracture, and surgery, and I was admitted to Methodist Rehab. So I was able to see firsthand what I heard out in the community about the stellar reputation of Methodist Rehabilitation Center. And I experienced it from the moment that I was admitted to the day I walked out. I had wonderful therapists. They knew what they were doing, and they worked me well, worked me hard, but I was able to do it. Of course, they had wonderful food over there, and the dietary department served me well. The nurses were extraordinary. Everyone I encountered, they were absolutely mission-focused and patient-centered. They gave me hope and healing, and I walked out of Methodist Rehab. I came in a wheelchair. I was supposed to be there 10 days, but the wonderful care that I received, I walked out in 5 days, and I was discharged home. A lot of our patients are transferred to Methodist for complete healing. I've had a wonderful experience. I've worked with Mark Adams, prior CEO, and now David McMillan is outstanding, and so it's a wonderful relationship. They really know their mission and they live the mission. They restored hope and healing as they were working with me. This is 50 years, truly a milestone worth honoring, and it's truly a mission to support.
As we celebrate 50 years of restoring hope and ability, we will continue to advance the science of rehabilitation while transforming lives with compassionate care. There's truly no place like Methodist Rehabilitation Center, and there's no limit to what we can accomplish.
If you look at it from the patient's perspective, I think a patient would tell you that they came in not expecting as much as they came out with. I think probably to a person, they would think, this helped me.
My son Samuel, he was at the University of Georgia in 2007. On April 27th, a Friday afternoon, he was riding his bicycle and was hit by a drunk driver. And life changed for all of us then. It was about as close to death experience as you can have without dying. And it left him with 7 traumatic brain injuries, which means his brain is crushed in 7 places. I grew up in Belhaven across the street, drove past this place an endless number of times. You know, I didn't see the word hospital. I just saw Methodist Rehabilitation Center. I didn't really know what rehabilitation exactly meant. Well, I found out what goes on here, and we are so fortunate to have a facility of this caliber in Mississippi. It is a real treasure, and you don't know that until you've lived it. He worked hard for 2 months here, and we worked hard with him, and then we did outpatient through Methodist after he left the hospital. When you're facing the darkest time of your life, there is no other place you would rather be than right here with this staff, doctors, therapists, administration. I can't say enough about this place. That's why I have become so involved.
I hear stories every day from people who have major accidents. Things are almost impossible to imagine. And then they come here and they deal with it. They deal with the uncertainty of what they're going to accomplish. Then all of a sudden on the back end, my favorite thing to do is see someone come back 6 months, 9 months out, and have a reunion with the therapist and the patient care team and the hugs and the tears. That's what it's all about. No one ever said, David, I wish I was a patient at Methodist Rehab Center.
But after they've been here,
they thank God we're here.